Hi all, stay laughing, and I think it's about time I gave you the answers for these confounded riddles I gave you the other day. I did see, I think all the answers have been given in the comment section, but not necessarily from the same person. So I'll quickly run through what the correct solutions are, or the ones that I've come up with. I mean, some of the other solutions are quite ingenious, but they're not necessarily what I cooked up. So let's have a look at the first one. It says, from the deep shade of Hades, pro surfers give me brutal skin. That'll hurt when you go for a swim. So I've put the answer up. It's a Sharpedo. And there's the little devil there. So, Sharpedo, why is it that? Well, obviously a Sharpedo is dark and water. So we've got a hint there for deep shade of Hades as dark type. And obviously there's a couple of references for water in surfers and swim. Brutal skin that'll hurt is obviously rough skin, of course. I need to forget what it was then. Rough skin, of course, one of its attributes. And there's also a little anagram of Hades and Pro. Mix those letters up and you get Sharpedo. So that's kind of the clincher. But not too difficult, that one. I think they got a bit more tricky further on. Okay, so riddle 2, as you can see, I was looking for a spoink for I'm pearl powered, so it's always spring. I type in pink, but my shade is grey. So there's a little spoink there, pearl powered. Well, apparently it has a clam pearl's pearl, which enhances its psychic powers, which is why it's pearl powered. Always spring, well, obviously it's got a spring for a tail that it bounces up and down on, but according to the literature, it's got to keep springing up and down in order to keep its heart beating. If it stops springing, it dies, so it's got to always spring. Type in pink, well, a type pink could either be fairy or psychic, but of course in this case it's a psychic type. But my shade is grey, as you can see, its body is grey in colour. So that's why I was looking for a spoink. Okay, the third one was a bit more tricky. Now most people said it was either going to be a spinnerack or an ariados, but I was actually looking particularly for a spinnerack. I shall tell you why, if I can spell it. Spinnerack, there she is. Okay, Spinnerack, obviously it's described as the string spit Pokemon, which is why we've got a string of sticky thread. There's quite a few references to being a spider, sticky thread, and World Wide Web. Toxic, of course, refers to its poison typing, but to nail it down as a Spinnerack rather than Ariados, there's an anagram of inner spark. We rearrange those letters, we get to Spinnerack, and that's why I particularly wanted Spinnerack and not Ariados for that one. Okay, the fourth one was fairly straightforward, I think, quite easy to get this one. Answer I put down already is a Samurott, and there it is. So, sea sword, well, it's described as fighting with a scimitar, which is a sea sword. And so if we use the sword to slice Mars trout, we have an anagram of Mars trout to give us Samurott. Take the black, well, it's a starter, beginning of black. It's a starter in Pokemon Black, and it's described as the formidable Pokemon. So plenty of help in that one for you there. So let's get on to number 5. Okay, the fifth one is a nice fun one. This was easy but quite fun. I should say rated. Okay, so it's Finger the Ring to create an X-rated version. Totally blue with a red hot hue. So yeah, that was a good one. That trips off the tongue nicely. I like that one a lot. So the answer, of course, was a Mega Charizard X, except that image is kind of a puny one. It's not really very mega, is it? So Finger the Ring, of course, you have to use the Mega Ring to create one. Charizard X, X-rated version. Totally blue. It's blue in colour with a red hot hue because it's a fire type. So that was a nice one. I like that one a lot, although it is very easy. But there we go. Okay, the next one, number 6. Don't fall foul to this young firefighter. Stoke the ovens with coke. Numbs the senses with kicks does this bloke. Of course, that was a combustion. Another quite easy one there. And there's the little devil there. It's described as the young fowl Pokemon. So you've got a couple of clues straight away there. It's fire and fighting is its type. And it's described in the literature as delivering a barrage of kicks when it fights. So that's what the last bit there. And that's not enough for you. I even put an anagram of the answer in there as in Coke and Numbs, just to make sure you definitely got it. So plenty in there for that one. I think the next one was a bit more tricky. Okay, the 7th one. Calming green from silver, and I am AG immune. A flora reanimator. It keeps doing that on the bloody predictive text. Dead plants I exhume, and I've already written the answer. It's a meganium. There, little meganium. Okay, so it's calming green, so apparently its petals release an aroma that calm aggressive feelings, so that's why it's a calming green, and of course it's colour and it's grass. From silver, of course, it's Pokemon Silver. Again, the silver there, but it was a little bit crafted that because it's actually an anagram of AG immune is meganium. And it's also described as having breath that can bring plants and grass back to life, which is what the last bit is about, a flora reanimator and dead plants I exhume. So yeah, quite an interesting one, that one. I didn't know half that myself until I looked it up, but there we go. All right, this one's a bit more complicated. Did you hear the shocking news that Tsar's bike got mangled at a crossing? The driver of the motor turned out to be an old flame, and charges were dropped. So I was looking for a Zeb striker for this one. Now, it's a bit more tricky. There's a couple of references for electrical typing, shocking and charges, of course. And if you rearrange Tsar's bike, so if you mangle the word or the word Tsar's bike, you get an anagram of Zeb striker. Crossing, I don't know if you get any other parts of the world, but in the UK we have zebra crossings where people cross the road. There's also motor drive, of course, which is a reference to one of its abilities. And of course we also learn flame charge as well. But a bit more complicated, that one, so very good if you got that one. I thought that was a bit more testing. Okay, the 9th one, a shelled ghastly perhaps. So if we get a ghastly, and there he is, and we put it in a shell, it looks a hell of a lot like a cloister, but it does to me anyway. So that's what that was about. They're almost identical. Ghastly, cloister in a shell. But I shoot spikes, so obviously a cloister is known as being a spiker, and it also shoots spikes at its prey, which are slowpoke, which it eats, of course, which is why it's there. 2 water states too. Well, it's ice and water. Of course, ice and water are 2 states of water. And if that's not enough, there's an anagram of cry and stall to give you cloister also. So that should be plenty to get that one with. Okay, and finally, number 10. Now, I thought I made this one the hardest one. It's always difficult to know if it's hard once you've made it yourself, because obviously you know the answer. But I was looking for an aerodactyl on this one. So there it is. Aerodactyl. Well, there's a clue that it's a fossil Pokemon because it's from the past. It's weak to one of the types that it is. Obviously, it's rock and flying, and it's weak to rock types. But there's an anagram of clear today. If you mutate clear today, you get aerodactyl. So that was kind of like the clincher. I didn't put too much else in it because obviously I wanted to make the last one a bit more tricky. So there we go, that's all 10. Thanks for having a go at them. And if Pokemon Reborn 18 isn't out soon, I'm afraid I'm going to be forced to come up with some more for you. So yeah, sorry about that, but I might not be able to help myself. I'll catch you guys later.